Today's show. Eugene, my man, welcome, my
Thank you.
co-host. For everybody that's viewing the show today, we're approaching the end of the year. Business is looking up. What are you doing to increase your activities in your business? But Eugene, before we get into today's show, why don't you tell everyone what's EHK all about?
Cool stuff. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another business show interview and Heritage Day. So I don't know what you are doing.
Yeah,
Willie
I know
van
what I'm doing. Ek gaan
Braai.
braai.
En
I've
ek gaan ook braai.
braai.
Cool, guys. So we're getting into the show. Just a quick introduction for those of you that don't know us. So Willie's a numbers reordering specialist,
Yeah.
commonly known as accountant. I am a thought observer, mediator, commonly known as a business coach. So, yeah, we're talking about just naming something different. Zig Ziglar is a thing. He's a flea trainer. And then the guy's asking, what's a flea trainer? And he basically explains this thing about a flea jumping up and it
Yeah.
eats something and will never jump higher. Go read the story. Maybe I'll post in the comment. Maybe not. Go
Maybe,
look.
maybe not. Boca!
And yeah, welcome to our show, guys. So EHQ is all about giving back to the community. It's myself and Willie's Give Back Project because we're all in business, and I think most of us are doing a lot better than the average South African. So, what are you doing beyond your business? Because we all have a responsibility to make an impact in the community and make an impact, leave a dent in the world.
Yeah.
So, it's from Apple. Steve Jobs basically drew a circle and then he made this little dent in it and says, this is the little dent that I intend to leave in it.
Yeah.
And 11, 12 years after he's passed away, he's still making impact in the world. Apple is the biggest company in the world today still. Now that's how you make an impact. That's how you leave a legacy. So what are we doing to leave a legacy? This is our Give Back project. We want to educate, train, share stories, inspire people by the way that we live, and bringing giants into the show, guys who's exceptionally, what would the right word be, exceptionally good or whatever, passionate, has an exceptional skill, etc., in a specific area of business so that they can share it with the rest of us. So
Yeah.
thanks for joining the show, Willie. So guys, today myself and Willie thought about doing a special edition because it's coming to the end of the year. So Willie, maybe just give a quick rundown of that and then we can get going.
Yeah, guys. So what we thought is we'll talk to each other, see what's worked for us, what's not worked for us. But we are approaching the end of the year, and we kind of last quarter, final quarter. Can you believe it? Spring, yeah, it's getting hot and warm, and yeah, tomorrow we're gonna braai. So, but yeah, we thought that one thing that we see quite often is we get to the end of the year and we've really been through a really tough time in many people's worlds and stuff like that. And, you know, one thing that we see is guys tapering off at the end of the year. And we thought that maybe this is a good opportunity to go out there, share our stories. What have we achieved and what have we not achieved? We sometimes forget about those things and we don't want to talk about it. But at the end of the day, those are the things I believe. You know, what did your mother say? Your oma, wat nie dood maak nie, maak groot. Wat nie dood maak nie, maak groot. And I think it's important to speak of those things. So hopefully in today's show, you guys will, you know, have a bit of a different mindset about how you're actually going to approach the last quarter of this year. In my world, I don't really look at quarters anymore. I also don't use a lot of guys use December as an excuse to start over again. It's something which I don't do. Is if I want to start to do something, then there's no better day than today to get stuff started. Yeah, Eugene. So hopefully by today, guys, if you learn one thing, then we have achieved what we wanted to achieve.
Mm. And I think what's also it's not just about what the view is, it's about we learn from each other. This is how we learn
Yeah.
through communication. So, really, I think myself and you will probably learn one or two things as well.
Yeah.
So, the format for today is I've prepared a few questions for Willie. I've prepared a few hot seat questions for Willie as well. If you guys have any hot seat questions, pop it
Pop
in
it
the
in
comment.
the comments box.
And if you have any questions through the show, let's keep it interactive. Just pop in the stuff, what you want, what's things that you're struggling with, information that you need to know, and let's brainstorm it. And maybe we come up with a different idea. So, Vilja, I think I'm also going to kick it off because we're getting to the last quarter. We've had a tough year. Borders are starting to open up. We're approaching summer, which means the cases are going to drop. We're in level 2, which is the lowest we've been in 2 years. So there's no denying the impact that lockdown and COVID had on our families, on losses that we've had in our communities. And then also being confined to your own country, to your own province for a big portion of the time, it's had huge impacts in the community and psychologically. And I think we're getting out of that stage now. We're starting
Yeah.
to ride the tail end of it. And especially getting summer, we're not going to have so many cases of flu and all those other sort of things as well. People are getting vaccinated in droves. It's funny how I think the 20 to 30 year olds were the biggest vaccinated portion of the different age groups. It's funny how the youth just went out in droves and everyone just got vaccinated. And there was all this
Yeah.
resistance from the older generations. Not that we are old, we are
No.
slightly matured. We're not old, we're just matured. We like wine, we get better with age.
Yeah, the other day I was like, I checked this white patch and I thought it was actually toothpaste. I said to my wife, I think it's toothpaste. She says, no, love, it's just it's a bit grey.
Funny. Cool, Vanessa. My first question is how do you plan to spend the last 3 months, the last quarter? We in final innings, final time. This is where the
Yeah,
winning hoop gets shot in basketball. So we're in the last quarter. How do you plan to spend it?
do nothing. No, I'm joking. So yeah, I've done a lot of soul searching this year, and I've done a lot of analysis in my accounting business and what I wanted to do with that. And I kind of did an assessment not long ago, and I kind of broke up my business into 4 areas. So one was, they call it ACDC, not the band ACDC, but the first portion was acquire. So how do you, yeah.
Dynamite.
So when I started off this year, I identified, I think, 8 key drivers, which I thought that I'm going to spend my time on for this whole year. And it was something which I said, this is the growth driver. I need to change these things in order for me to move forward. Because if we keep on doing things the same way, we're not going to see any results. And we did a lot of work during the beginning of the year to be able to deal with more clients. So some of the simple things that we did was just change our pricing. It's something which a lot of guys get wrong, and we worked on our team and we worked on our systems and things like that. So I've now gotten to a point where we really need to stress this engine that we've built, and it's something which a lot of entrepreneurs really struggle with. And it's strange, like we said, these guys are tapering down at the end of the year. They think that people do not want business. I'm seeing the complete opposite in my business. Currently, we're only working on referrals, but one of the things that came out about what do I need to do in my business in order for me to move up to the next level, and one of those key areas was you need to move away from the referral system, and you need to customize or have this constant leads coming into your system. So what we're working on currently is purely working on this lead engine for the last bit of this financial year. So well, until December. So if we can get that up and running, and we've already done a lot of work in terms of that. But yes, Eugene, so that's that's one thing that I would like to tick off my
Mm.
to-do list before we hit the end of the year.
What do you think is different? Sorry, just an add-on question to that. So we've had 2 years of lockdown now, etc., etc. Do you notice any differences in your business where you are now and what you're planning for the rest of the year versus maybe 3, 4 years ago?
Yeah, most definitely. I think if I can just share with everyone, maybe 12 months ago, last year November, I don't know why I thought of that. But I mean, I sent you a voice note and I said to you, Eugene, I want to be a dollar millionaire. Not that I've got a lot of, not that I want a lot of money, but it's a way to measure how you've grown. And I said, yeah, I want to become a,
Fictional wording there, dude. Fictional. Don't say
yeah,
shit
I
like that.
still work on my money blueprint. But I said to you, I want to be a dollar millionaire in 5 years' time. And something changed there. And I can't put my finger on that. But the way I started thinking about things just completely changed. And if I have to measure the business today versus 12 months before, it's two completely different entities. You know, at that point in time, I was still asking the question, how am I get things done? And after, I think 2 or 3 months ago, um, people we talk quite a lot, which is quite nice. We can soundboard from each other, and we had this specific conversation. And you said to me, the right question to ask is not how are you going to get it done, but who's going to get it done. Now the reality is we don't always have all of the resources available. So you have to put on the hat of the marketer and the salesman and the this and the that. But I think what's changed is as I put that hat on, I'm constantly asking my question about who's the next person that I'm going to get to do this for me. And I said to you
And
before this that yeah,
it causes you to think a bit differently. So, just to reiterate that conversation we had, it's like, yeah, but I don't have resources. So, think outside the box. Where are you going to get the resources? But if we keep jumping in and doing the stuff ourselves, we'll never get to the point of having the resources. So,
yeah,
there's certain tasks in your business you are not allowed to do them. Go and
yep,
find someone, pay someone, freelance someone. There's multitude of different ways. But when you start thinking out of the box, who is going to do that? So the saying is take care of the what. So what is the business going to be? What's your product? What's your next step?
yeah,
Whatever. Figure out the who and figure out the when. So when do you want to do this and who is going to do that? The
yeah,
how then becomes their responsibility. Where we keep thinking about the how, and we in this hamster wheel that spin around. Think about the
yeah,
what, who, and when, and the how automatically take care of itself. But I love that thinking creatively of
yeah.
who is going to do that.
Yeah, and yeah, I must say that that's made a world's different. I think
Yeah.
we have doubled our business in the last 12
12.
months. You know, we took a really hard knock when COVID started. But I must say, since COVID started, I did not have one day which I was very concerned about getting more business or getting the thing ticking over. Um, but one thing that I also did was I made quick decisions. I see something, and Eugene, I'm sure you guys in the IT business also had clients which has gone under, and you will most probably find that those guys could not turn on a dime. So they couldn't see the problem and face it head on and make a quick decision and go somewhere else. Um, where I think maybe that was my lessons that I've learned in the past. So I do learn from my lessons.
Uh,
I have before in the previous 6 years where I made some wrong business decisions to I kind of overnight start over again. And you know that's the that stuff that I learned when the previous stuff happened. When COVID came along, we just literally said, "Okay, we know what we need to do, so let's do this." and then put our heads down and just go forward. So that's made a massive difference. And all of these little things, at the end of the day, I think it changes you as a person. Yeah. So
I think it's also important that what you mentioned there now, what something that this period has done for a lot of businesses is it's cut down a lot of unnecessary expenses and it's made our businesses a lot more nimble so we can pivot a
yes,
lot quicker. It's very
yes,
easy to pivot a business if you're a one man show. If you So it's the quadrants, cash flow quadrants of Robert Kiyosaki. You're self-employed, we one person. Then you move into business, less than I think 500 employees, or whatever, and then big business is 500 plus employees. So for business, that's 500 plus employees that employ people in key areas in the business, people with specialized skills. For them to pivot becomes a lot more difficult. If you're one person and, for example, you're doing accounts, to move over to something else, it's fairly simple. And what that this has done now is it's moved even bigger businesses, big businesses, 500 employee plus businesses, to become a lot more nimble. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know if I can mention the names. There's people that I work with, 500 to 1,500 employee companies, that's all home based. And they still haven't gone back to home. They gave up all
yeah,
their offices. They were spending over 1 million on office space per month, which now isn't a thing.
yeah.
Billy,
So
just one other question that I wanted to ask you on this is where is your emotional state at? So if you have to measure your emotional state, zero being I'm down and out, I've got zero energy, etc., and a 10 is you feel absolutely amazing, everything in the world's going good. You're just so full of energy, you don't know what to do about it. Where would you rate yourself on that scale?
currently, I think I would rate myself on the higher level, maybe an 8 or a 9.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm currently at that state. But one thing that I want to share is, Eugene, it's not always like that. So I used to struggle quite a lot with anxiety, and it was stress-induced anxiety. In the sense is I would not be able to sleep at night because I'm so stressed out about various types of things. Um, but I've learned that there's some stuff that I have control over and some stuff that I don't have control over. And I actually analyzed what's creating that anxiety for me. And I was actually able to pinpoint the exact things that was was doing it for me. And one of those things, funnily enough, is I'm an accountant. Everyone would think that accountants, it's finance. Your income is always up there, and it can always be better. I'm someone that likes to have a buffer, and I took an active decision to say I need to sort this out. So I can't leave it to one side. I need to address this matter, and there was a few key areas which I addressed. One of them was, funnily enough, is I I think quite a lot, just like all of us. And Eugene, I want to ask you a question about all of these thoughts about projects. But one of the things that happened to me is I've got all of these thoughts about different things. And the problem was they kept on creeping up in my head. And the more they crept up and started building, I went into this loop and I keep on thinking about it and I can't sleep and stuff like that. So one simple thing that I did was I started writing down the stuff in an app. So I've got a to-do app on my phone and on my computer, and I actually use that to jot down all of the stuff. So since that, I don't lie awake thinking about what I need to be thinking about. So from a work perspective, of an action taking thing, that's made a huge difference in my life. But one of the things that I cherish dearly is travel. Um, and
Hard to say, how's it affected you for, because I mean, we haven't been able to travel internationally for over 2 years now.
exactly.
And
So just to share with you guys.
so, what did you
So
do?
yeah, but just to share with you that disappointment I had in the beginning of lockdown. I was due to fly to England on the 23rd of March 2020. And on
Shame.
the 26th of March 2020 they called this lockdown thing, and since then we've not been able to travel. So that's something that I love, and that's something which I do very often. But by looking at the positives, it's given me an opportunity to actually go to places in South Africa which I've never would have gone to,
Mm.
which has made me grateful for what we've got in this country, guys. So we've got Heritage Day tomorrow, and we're going to braai. We're going to have a lot of braais, but it gave me an opportunity to braai in quite a lot of different places in this country. So yeah, Eugene. So that is how I get my mood up, and then whether you like it to practice or not, it makes a huge difference in the way that I actually sleep. So I'm someone that goes to bed early, but I get up very early, which few people think I'm a bit crazy doing that. But at the end of the day, if you go and look at your own sleeping habits, we all sleep more or less 6.5 to 8 hours a day. It's just when you go to sleep. But what I found was, if I get up in the morning and I've had a good night's rest, I've just got so much energy to attempt doing the things that I need to be doing. And because I'm up 3 hours or 4 hours before the rest of my clients start off with, I have that time to actually spend time on myself. If you look here, there's my morning routine. Can't see it. Wake up, meditate, journal, personal
That would be
development.
a good start to your morning. Wake up.
What? Wake up, yes. Wake up. I should say, wake up, make the bed.
Uh,
But yeah, then meditate, do the personal stuff and things like that. And I can't tell you how accomplished I feel if I've done all of these things. If I haven't done one of them, I kind of feel guilty and say, yeah, I'm giving
It's
myself
almost like
nonsense.
when you get to 7 or 7 or whatever, when most of the other people come in and you've already achieved so much and all your nitty gritty stuff is out the way,
Exactly.
and you're ready to get on with the big stuff and talk to your customers. Just the amount of stress that it alleviates is unreal. That is probably one of the biggest impacts for me is that. Really, just one last thing about this mood thing. I see Vera also mentioned that this year I stepped right out of my comfort zone thanks to you guys' support and that of the mastermind group. How important has stuff like the mastermind group been? I mean, our internal mastermind group and the mastermind
Yeah.
groups that we belong to, just that circle of positivity and thinking differently and sharing. How critical has that been to your mood, being 7, 8, 9 out of 10?
Massive, massive. I would say one of the biggest advantages for me was, I do quite a lot of self development, and my preferred method of doing so is either as an online course or an audio book or something like that. So, for me, the go to thing there is just to say, guys, I want to do the following thing. What do you guys suggest? And once you open up the discussion, and then the next guy would come in and he would ask questions, and by having that discussion, everyone learns, and everyone just, you talk about that level of consciousness which just moves up to the next level. Yeah, and it's super great to actually have those guys. What's quite nice about it, we don't want to speak about our failures, and I don't know why. We should do that. We should have a show just about failures, the biggest failures that people's had in business, and I will share mine openly. But we don't share that. But it's so nice to actually have that platform to 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 go on there openly and say, guys, X, Y, and Z has just happened. How do we deal with this? Just that moral support. I think, Eugene, we've chatted about that as well. We think our wives and our girlfriends listen to our stuff so many times. They like to sit, yeah. So you said, I think I'm going to start a new business. And they just go, yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so
I just want to ask a question to the audience as well. Guys, rate yourself out of 10. So, where would you say is your energy levels, your motivation, etc. And maybe even reflect back, where was it a year ago? So where is it? Rate yourself, pop in the comments. Where do you rate yourself? 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever the case may be. Willie, before we get into the hot seat, I think just a word of encouragement that I want to give through to everyone watching the show is we see it every year, and I think this year is going to be double that. How people, September, October, and then November, how we start falling down, and especially people's mood, the energy, they're winding down, they start looking forward to December, productivity takes a dive, etc., etc. What And that happens every year. So this is probably part of the favorite time of the year for me because I go into overdrive and I just capitalize like you can't believe.
Yep.
What's happening now is people are overstressed, they overworked, they tired, they haven't been able to rejuvenate in quite a lot of time. And I think a lot of our members is quite high up. So a lot of the guys that's part of our mastermind group, I think we all quite on a high level because we've been interacting on a regular basis. We've got the business show in our Zoom sessions and we chat on WhatsApp, and I've seen some of you for beer, etc., etc. So I think because of that level of interaction and the accountability of keeping our words, we are fairly at a high state compared to a lot of the other business owners. What I'm noticing now, probably since the beginning of September, is our sales is just going through the roof. Just in the last 2 weeks, we've probably signed up 12, 14 new clients. Um, so the stuff, and it's going to October. I can guarantee when it starts getting warm, when people can start going out, travel
Yeah.
businesses are going to start opening up. People are getting excited for the end of the year. They're going into Black Friday, which we didn't even talk about. I wanted to chat about that as well, maybe on a different show, where we go into the state of spending and going out, and our mood lifts up, etc.
Yeah.
The market is going to do this, productivity is
Yeah.
going to do this. So this gap that it ends up in the back end here is going to be massive. So what are you going to do about it? How are
Yeah.
you going to capitalize on that? That's
Eugene,
the last words from that, and I think we can pop into the hot seat unless you want to ask one last question, Willie.
I've got one or two questions, but I think it's very important to address. I heard you mention the word capitalize. It's you get to the end of the year and you're gonna capitalize. It's such an aggressive word. Um, and I fully agree with you. I mean, we're ramping up all our efforts in order for us to get as many clients as possible. Because if we end the year like better than last year, the next level is just going up. So for the viewers, what are some of the initiatives, strategies, tactics that you're going to be using over this period of this festive season? To actually ramp up and capitalize.
Yeah, that is great. I want to apologize for the words I'm using, but I want to express the passion and emotion, and there's no other words. I'm not going to capitalize. I can form bliksem. So,
Medicop.
yeah. So the first thing is managing my state, managing my energy.
Yeah, I love it.
You cannot play the game at a Springbok level if you're practicing at a junior high level. So you need to play the game and you need to have your state. I mean, those guys don't go out and they run 500 meters. Oh, I'm tired. I'm going back.
Let's not talk about the rugby now. Let's not talk about the rugby.
So leaving it all on the table. How do I manage my energy? How do I manage my state? That's the first place. Because anything else after that, if your state isn't up here, nothing else matters. You're not going to execute. So number one, managing my state, exercise, getting up in the morning. Especially important who I spend my time with, what information I take in.
Yes.
All of these things are critical. Am I listening to the news? What conversations am I allowing to happen in my vicinity? I don't allow shitty conversations. If you want to talk about shitty stuff, get out of my space. I'm not
I was gonna ask you the next question. The question was going to be, how many of your friends have you not invited to your bride tomorrow because they're talking negative shit?
Yeah. So it's very, very important to see who you're spending your time with and how they are affecting your state. So number one, manage my state. Number two, I wanted to chat quite a bit about our rent, but to Black Friday, it's the biggest e-commerce month in the year by double. Guys, we double our sales in November compared to any other month on e-commerce. So what is your process to get up to that point? And one of the things is you need to start making people aware and you need to start building your top line of funnel. So, what is your strategy to build
Cool.
all of that? And then the last thing, there's probably 10 other things I can say. For time constraints, I'll mention one more. So this is not the end of the year. Next year isn't the beginning of the year. This is part of your business. It's just another month, whether it's
Yeah.
November or December or June or whatever, it's just another month. We have to be aware of market conditions and what opportunities lies there. So a lot of the time, if you want something different to other people, just do the opposite
Yeah.
and then you'll
Exactly.
achieve it. So most of the people are going to go home, they're gonna braai and dope and stuff on a weekend. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put in the time, I'm gonna put in the effort, I'm gonna spend the time, and then I'm gonna expand my team. So not just permanent employees, who's in your network. So creatively, how can you get better people into your team? And then using this almost as a trampoline to leapfrog. And then January, when people start getting back to the office and they want to start doing stuff, we're already young, we're just carrying on and
Already
we just
there.
even further. So I think that's going to be critical. And then 10 other things, which I'll share on the group.
Cool, Eugene. So I think we're starting to run out of time. I think I'm going to ask you the hot seat questions today, and
Okay.
then let's take it from
Let's
there.
just see, Willie, you said about traveling camping has become a new overseas trip. I'm finding it very difficult to get a
Exactly.
campsite booking. Yeah,
Hmm?
we've got amazing places in South Africa. So enjoy it.
Amazing.
Cool. So
Cool.
go.
Hot seat.
And go.
Go. Cool. What's your next adventure trip or thing that you're going to be doing?
Snowboarding in Colorado.
Wow. Am I invited?
No. Your legs
Oh,
isn't good looking enough. It's a
oh,
personal trip. Me and Manette's going through to Colorado as soon as they open the borders. If it's
yeah.
not open by mid-December, then I'll go to Mauritius or Seychelles,
Or we can go and camp.
or we can go camp. This weekend I'm
Cool.
going surfing in Durban, so it's a continuous
Luck.
adventure.
Yep. Life's an adventure, man. Cool. Next one. What scares the crap out of you?
Two things. The second one I won't explain. I'll just say it in a slogan that I heard. I think it's Florence Nightingale or something that said it. So, firstly, my son is turning 13 in 17th of November. And the thing that he wants to do is he wants his dad to go skydiving with him. I think I just messed on the floor. That scares the crap out of me. The second thing is it's not the darkness that we are afraid of, is that we are powerful beyond belief.
Wow.
We are more powerful than we can ever think possible. And it scares the shit out of us, especially me. I
Exactly.
realize what the power is inside of us and what we can achieve, what's our
Yeah.
potential. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Believing in yourself is probably one of the most powerful things, or one of the most powerful gifts that I think we've been gifted. And yeah, just to add to that, Eugene, if I take myself 12 months back, just believing in myself that I can do what I need to do. Look, it doesn't come easy every day, but I mean, just that belief that you can actually make it. I'm believing in myself, and that's just, I think, one of the things that's just making a massive, massive, massive difference.
All comes
So
back to you.
yeah,
The answer for everything
one
is inside of you.
exactly. One last thing, Eugene. Metallica or Justin Bieber?
We all know the answer to that. I'm not 12.
Cool,
Yeah, thanks.
guys.
Willie, I just have one last question for you. What's
Yes.
your BA goal for 2022?
I don't like to do 12-month things, but I'm gonna give you one, and I'm gonna put it out there. Is is to have a full up and running accounting business in the UK within the next, I'm going to call it 12 months. So we've done some work on that, and we're getting obstacles all the way as we go. But hey, that's how business is. And
So that's a business goal. What's a personal goal? BA 2022.
personal goal, I want to do a stage race, a mountain bike stage race.
Just that's cool.
Yes. So my previous PB is 70 kilometers. I think they took me home in an ambulance. So this is a bit further. But yeah, that's I think for us will be a good beer goal for 2020.
Very cool.
Anyway,
Guys,
guys,
thanks for joining us for another amazing episode. It's so cool hanging out with you guys. Remember, like and subscribe and share. Please do share the message, get it out there, and have a fantastic Friday. So Heritage Day,
yeah,
whatever
Heritage Day,
Heritage
guys.
is, celebrated. It's all
And
about
yeah,
unity through diversity.
yeah, and what a beautiful country we have, Eugene. Rugby unites us all. So I know things are not that great currently, but let's unite and let's stand behind the boys. They can bring it home for us. But
And if
guys,
you want in Melito this weekend, let me know. We can go have a beer. I'm going to be
Lekker.
surfing, and then we can.
So
Guys,
guys,
next week.
cheers.